Do you have a lot of backgrounds, either finished or partially finished, that you just don't know what to do with or you don't know what the next step is? In today's video, I'm going to tackle 3 backgrounds in my accidental art journal, and I'm going to fix the problem and finish the page. As I said, I'm working in my accidental art journal where I use leftovers. So these pages, sometimes they turn out almost completely great, like this one. And sometimes things go south and they're less than stellar, and I just simply don't know what to do with them. So I'm going to tackle one of these first. And this one I'm going to tackle. This one is pretty much complete. And I like a lot of the elements. I like the colors, I like the patterns, but I think it needs a little something more, and it needs the right focal image. The last two, there's going to be a bigger transformation. I like the yellow color in there, so I thought vintage and I grabbed some focal images that kind of had that vintage feel. This one has the dots on it that match the butterfly, and that yellow color matches. This one doesn't seem to be the right scale, even though it's the right color. So I'm auditioning different ones. I've got a selection of vintage photos that I got from an old book. This one just seems a little bit big. This one, I didn't think this one worked, but now that I'm looking at the video, I think it would. But this is the one that I chose to do. Although this one I really like on this page, but I think I can do something on a more official art journal page. So I'm just going to glue this focal image down, and then I'm going to cut off the excess. I thought about putting it there, and I kind of wish I had right now because, again, looking at the video, I'm liking it. Now, because I wasn't sure what I all needed to add here, I am edging this page. When you do this, just like auditioning, it kind of brings things into focus, gives you some think time, and helps you kind of figure out maybe what another step might be. I'm shading around the focal image too because I want that to stand out. I'm adding the black as well because I think that's adding a bit of grunge and adding to the vintage feel of the page. Now, that Naples yellow that was there, I didn't quite think I had enough of it, so I'm adding some color. So this is one of the ways that I'm fixing and finishing that page, just adding more of the color or deepening the colors that already are there. And I wanted to add a small scale black element too. So I grabbed this, I think it's a number stamp. It's from the Reflections Tim Holtz, and I really like the addition of that. It kind of grunges it up a little bit and really finishes that what I thought was a good background, but it was lacking that little bit of black, especially if I'm going to put a sentiment with black type in on it. I grabbed the sentiment pack, Courage. This is one of my digital sentiment packs, and all of them are available for purchase at Ninny's Napkins. I will link them in the description box below and at the end of the video if you want to go check them out. And I cut it apart and I just, picked a sentiment that I had already in my stash, because when I work in the accidental art journal, I want to use what's in my stash. I don't want to create more stuff. I want to use it up. Here I'm using my Murphy or General's charcoal pencil and kind of smudging it, again, adding to that vintage feel. So, like I said, this first one, when I started, I didn't want to do something too difficult. I didn't want to overthink it, so I picked the easiest one. But the second two here are going to, there's going to be a greater transformation. So here's where we started, and here's where we ended up, finished. So here is the next background. And what I liked about this was the blue and the green, but I didn't like the limey slash new neonish green. That was a little too striking, and there just was so much going on here. So I liked the green and blue, so I grabbed the hooker's green and then just applying a coat of that right on top of where that lime green was. And right away, I like it a whole lot more. This is also knocking back some of that leafy stenciling that I had done and turning it more into a background. Now, there was a little bit of red oxide shining through, and I wanted to beef up that color. So that's what you see me doing here, using red oxide or burnt sienna and just adding that to the background. And right now, this background is so much warmer and inviting, and it's making me think of forest and trees along that line. Looked over and I saw this cardboard, and I decided I'm going to add some white marks on it. I wanted to lighten up my background a little bit, and this, I think, just a huge amount of bang for buck. It pushes back everything that's there, but you're still seeing all the stamping, all the stenciling that went before. But these lines, this stamping, these marks just really made this background for me. So don't think you need to spend a lot of money on expensive stamps and stencils when you could use something that, you're getting from the Amazon delivery guy every day. So I like what that added to it. It's still very much reading forest. I've got leaves, the warmth of that. I'm loving the colors, which I'm sticking pretty much to the colors that were there. I took my inspiration from what was on there. I wanted to set off my focal image, so I'm making a wave through the middle. This is one of the tricks that I know to giving weight to a smaller focal image. And I was going to shade that in to kind of separate the page into thirds. But then I decided, I need a little bit more small scale stamping. So I was stamping with black acrylic paint and this script stamp. And again, this is adding a very minute detail, but I always like to have some of that in there. It also introduces black on there, pushes back the previous layers. So this page is huge, so many layers. I can't even remember how many went before because being an accidental art journal, every time I added a color, that might have been after several different projects on several different days. So I can't remember what all went in there. I'm just using up leftover paint and leftover modeling paste or collage papers. Then I decided I wanted to add some gold, so I grabbed this shelf liner, another great mark making tool, really inexpensive. I'm putting the gold paint on with a makeup sponge and then pressing down. This is adding a little bling to the page, a little bit of yellow. Again, this background went from a 2 to a 10. And I absolutely love all the interest that I created in this background. So back to the wave, I'm grabbing my angle brush and I am shading to bring out this swoop through the middle. This kind of divides up the page, also will give weight to the focal image that I've chosen. Shading around the outside, which again, I do on all of them. That's part of the finishing. And, when you're looking at a background and evaluating it, you have to factor in that you're going to do these things. This sentiment comes from the short and sweet sentiment pack, which are phrases from 1 to 4 letters, 4 words long. And I'm cutting it up. Enjoy the journey, which is what you got to do. And then I found this raccoon. This was something that I got, I think, from Dollar Tree. There was a little book of all the little forest animals. And I'm just gluing this all down with fluid matte medium or gel medium. I'm putting a coat on the top as well to seal it, make it a non-porous surface. And then I'm going to shade around the raccoon and, darken the stripes on his tail and around his eyes. I just want the focal image, of course, to stand out. This is a pretty strong background. There's a lot going on, so I want my focal image to stand out. Now, with these pages, I don't know where I'm going with it necessarily when I'm tweaking the background. All I know is I have about a dozen more backgrounds in this accidental art journal I need to finish. So you'll be seeing more of these videos. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in. And there we have the finished page. There's where we started, and here's where we ended up. I think it was a great transformation. Let me know what you think. So here's the last page. Now, this one, I don't like the white stamp there. It's too uniform. We're too one tone. It's all kind of the red color with the black. There's texture paste or modeling paste there. I love that, but it's not really being brought out in this situation. So right off the bat, I know I need to add another color. So I grabbed the Naples yellow. It was on my desk from the previous one, and I'm just adding that. And I'm targeting the areas where the modeling paste is, because I'm thinking I could probably bring that modeling paste out a little bit more and showcase it. So I'm just adding some, and I'm liking the look of adding this Naples yellow. I do add a couple more coats or one more coat of it. I don't know that that was on the video. But right off the bat, I'm liking this a lot more. Now, I wanted to knock back that white stamping that was there, so I grabbed my cadmium red and I am just deepening the red color. So this is adding the contrast. And from the beginning to now, I think I've made a positive effect, but I've kept pretty much, there's that red. I can't get rid of the modeling paste. So here, now I wanted to bring out that texture paste, and I grabbed a makeup sponge with white paint and I'm skimming over top of the modeling paste. Now, there's a lot going on here. We have the modeling paste texture and we have the wrinkles from the composition book. So you're getting a lot of texture, but you may not necessarily be making out the stencil that I used to put the modeling paste on. But I'm liking how that's softening that color. I kind of go over top of the red as well because I liked it so much. Just adding more of the white, giving a very different look to the page and softening the page. Then I grabbed a texture stamp. This is from Stamperia. It's one of the ocean ones, I think. I can't remember the name. If I find it, I'll put it in the description box. And I'm adding some black stamping again over both the red and the yellow. Like something that goes over all of them, kind of unifies the page. This is the Winged Wonders sentiment pack, and I chose it because I'm putting a butterfly on. And I'm auditioning a few of the ones that I thought would fit. Where would I place this? That one has too many words, too lengthy. I like the look of that one. But before I do that, the butterfly is teal. So I mixed up some teal paint, actually Prussian blue with the Naples yellow, and I'm stamping some script in that teal color, introducing the color to the butterfly, my focal image, into the background. And I hope you can see that because I like the script on there. It's a little something added, but it's really unifying the page again. Now, while you're not going to create the exact page I have, you can take some of the techniques that I'm doing when I'm transforming the page and do something similar. Adding a color, bringing out the texture with a makeup sponge, adding some small scale stamping. Those are the things that I want you to take forward. Now, I wanted to make my focal image a little bit brighter, a little bit more present. So I grabbed my Inktense blocks, found a matching teal color here, and activating the blocks with water, I'm just painting over top of the butterfly. And I do a couple coats, building up the color as I go. And then I do the same for the dots or the neutral part of the butterfly and the brown. I just deepen the color. And I can do this because I put a coat of gel medium or fluid medium on top and made it into a non-porous surface. And there I'm deep darkening, adding to the brown. Shading around the outside as you've seen me do on all the pages. So there's a lot going on in this background, a lot of visual texture, a lot of physical texture. And I'm loving the contrast between the yellow and the red. Adding the second color really helped this page. Sometimes you do a background and there's too much and you got to knock some of it back, cover it up in whatever way. Sometimes you need to add more contrast. So again, it's the game. It's what's wrong with it? How do I fix it? Shading, and there is this page. Look at all that yummy, yummy texture and pattern. So thank you so much for joining me. Oh, before we go, here's where we started on this page. And unbelievably, here's where we ended up. Again, I think this was a positive change. Here are close-ups of all the pages. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you go into your studio, into your art room, find those unfinished backgrounds and turn them into an art journal page. Until next time, go get creative.